I'm about to tell you something that still keeps me up at night. Not because it was scary, but because of what it means. What if the most terrifying thing isn't a monster? What if it's your own mind trying to protect you from something it can't survive? John loved his parents more than anything in this world. And that love, that pure, real love, is exactly what almost destroyed him. Alright, y'all, sit down for this one. No jump scares, no demons. Just a story about a boy from Dallas, Texas, 17 years old, honor roll student, good kid. Name was John. John was one of those rare kids, bro. Like genuinely close with his parents. Not the, yeah, they're cool type. I mean, the kid would text his mom memes, would watch football with his dad on Friday nights. They were tight. 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 So when things started feeling off, John noticed immediately. It started small. His mom stopped making eye contact at breakfast. His dad stopped asking about school. No, how was your day? No jokes at dinner. Just silence. Cold, thick silence. John told himself, maybe they're stressed. Work stuff. Adult stuff. He tried not to take it personal, but it kept getting worse. One evening, John's sitting in the living room doing homework, and he starts thinking, bro, did I do something wrong? Did they find out I borrowed like $2 from the counter without asking? Is that what this is? Because when you're a good kid and your parents suddenly go cold, your mind goes to the worst places. He tried talking to his mom. She looked through him. Not at him. Throw him like he was glass. He tried his dad. Same thing. That man who used to dap him up every morning now wouldn't even turn around when John said goodnight. John started losing sleep. Started second-guessing every memory. Were they always like this? Am I remembering wrong? That's the thing about isolation, bro. It doesn't just hurt you. It makes you question your entire reality. But nothing could have prepared him for what he heard next. John comes home from school one Tuesday. Normal day. Backpack on, earbuds in. He's walking toward the kitchen when he hears it. His parents, behind their bedroom door, talking. He almost kept walking. But something made him stop. He leaned in, and he heard his mother's voice, low, flat, cold as ice. Say, we should just get rid of him. And his dad replied, yeah, it's time. John's backpack hit the floor. His legs stopped working. Get rid of him. Get. R-I-D-R. Off. Him. He stood there for 5 seconds that felt like 5 years. His brain screaming, are you Ren? His heart screaming, this can't be real. These are your parents. He ran to his room, locked the door, sat on the floor with his back against the bed, just trying to breathe. It's time. What does that mean? Time for what? His mind started connecting dots that weren't there. The silence, the cold stares, the avoiding him. It all suddenly felt like preparation. Like they had been pulling away on purpose, detaching. So it would be easier. So what would be easier? And then the knock came. 3 hard knocks. His dad's knock. John knew it anywhere. John. Open this door. Now. Not hey bud. Not just open this door. That voice. That tone. John had never heard his father sound like that in 17 years of life. He looked around his room. Window. first floor. Grass outside. The knocking got louder. "Open the door, John!" John threw the window open. He jumped. He hit the grass running and didn't look back until he heard the front door slam open behind him and his dad's footsteps on the pavement, and he turned around just long enough to see his dad running with something in his hand. John's vision tunneled, the world tilted, and he hit the ground. When John opened his eyes, he was in a hospital. White ceiling, beeping machines, a nurse writing something on a clipboard. He sat up and immediately started talking, told the nurse everything. The cold stares, the conversation behind the door, his dad chasing him, all of it. The nurse stopped writing. She looked at the doctor. The doctor looked at her. And then the doctor pulled a chair close, sat down, and said something that John will never forget for the rest of his life. He said, "John, your parents passed away 1 month ago. A car accident on I-35. You were at school when it happened." John shook his head. No, that's wrong. He just saw them. He heard them. His dad chased him. The doctor gently said, "John, you've been in acute dissociative grief. Your mind couldn't accept the loss, the silence. That's what absence actually sounds like when your brain tries to recreate someone. It's lost. And the conversation you heard, we should get rid of them. It's time." The doctor paused, then said softly, "John, that was a recording. Your parents had recorded a video before they passed. A surprise. They were planning to tell you they were moving to a bigger house, getting rid of the old one. It was time to give you a better home." John didn't speak for a long time after that. The thing chasing him in the street, the paramedics said when they found him, he was alone. Just a boy running from nothing, collapsing on an empty road at dusk. His dad wasn't there. His dad had been gone for 31 days. But here's the part that gets me every single time I think about this story. John said later, the version his mind invented just to keep them present, he said, "At least they were still there. At least I could still hear them breathe." And I think about that a lot, bro. How sometimes grief is so big, so impossible, that your mind would rather build a haunted version of the people you love than face a world where they don't exist at all. So the next time your parents call you for no reason, pick up. The next time they say, "I love you," out of nowhere, say it back. Don't wait for the version of them your mind has to build from memory. You still have the real ones. Don't waste that. In 2019, a chemical plant outside Black Ridge, Nevada, exploded in the middle of the night. The government blamed a toxic gas leak. But the truth? The people inside that factory didn't die. They turned into something far worse. Just after midnight, the Black Ridge chemical facility suddenly went into emergency lockdown. Red warning lights flashed across the entire plant. Workers started running through the hallways in panic. Then, a massive explosion shook the building. A black SUV burst through the factory gate and sped down the empty desert highway. Behind the wheel was 21-year-old Emily Carter, a research assistant at the plant. Her hands were trembling so badly she could barely control the steering wheel. In the rearview mirror, she kept seeing movement. Something was following her. Her breathing got faster as she grabbed her phone and called her older brother. "Ryan, listen to me. Something terrible is happening at the plant." Her brother's sleepy voice answered, "Emily, it's like 2 a.m. What are you talking about?" Emily whispered, terrified. "They weren't making chemicals here. They were testing them on people. The workers." The call suddenly cut off. "Emily, hello?" At that exact moment, her headlights revealed a figure standing in the road. It didn't move, didn't blink, just stared. Emily slammed the brakes. Crash! Seconds later, the car exploded in flames. Authorities later said Emily died in the accident, but strangely, no body was ever recovered. 5 years later, Black Ridge is now a dead town. After the explosion, hundreds of workers disappeared. The government sealed the entire area and labeled it Toxic Hazard Zone. No one was allowed near the factory. Not reporters, not investigators, no one. But Emily's brother Ryan never believed the official story, because for 5 years straight he had the same nightmare. Every night he found himself standing inside the burned-out factory, the air thick with toxic smoke, metal pipes dripping strange chemicals. Then he would hear a whisper behind him. "Ryan, help us!" He would turn around and see Emily. But her skin looked burned, her eyes hollow, and she always repeated the same words, "Set us free." "Testing what kind of toxins?" Maya lowered her voice. "The kind that keeps people alive after they're supposed to be dead." The video vanished from the internet hours after it was uploaded, like someone erased it. Ryan looked up slowly. What if Emily is still there? Food still sitting on kitchen tables, like everyone disappeared in the middle of their day. Then suddenly, they heard a low growling noise inside a nearby house. The door slammed open. Something stepped into the light. Its flesh was rotting, eyes glowing deep red, and its body moved in jerky, unnatural motions. Jake whispered, "That is not a human." Before they could react, the creature attacked. Moments later, the entire town echoed with horrifying screams. Dozens of figures began moving through the streets. The dead walking again. Ryan and Jake ran toward the abandoned factory. Inside, burned bodies were scattered everywhere, workers who had died in the explosion. Or so it seemed, because suddenly, the bodies started moving, charred fingers twitching, heads snapping upward, dead eyes opening. Jake stepped back in horror. "Oh my God, they're alive!" Then a voice echoed through the factory halls. "Ryan, over here!" Ryan froze. He recognized that voice instantly. Emily stepped out of the shadows, but she looked exactly like she did in his nightmares. Burned, changed, barely human. "I tried to escape that night," she said weakly. "They tested a chemical on all of us. It turns people into something in between life and death." She pointed toward the basement. "The man who ran the experiments, Dr. Reeves, he's still down there." Her voice trembled. "He controls them, and if he leaves this town, the infection spreads." Ryan clenched his fists. "How do we stop him?" Emily whispered. "There's a containment gas capsule in the basement. If it breaks outside, it will destroy every infected body in this town." Ryan and Jake rushed down the dark staircase. At the bottom stood a tall figure in a lab coat. "Dr. Reeves," his eyes glowing like fire. A twisted grin spread across his face. "Well, visitors." I was getting tired of zombie blood. Jake barely had time to react. The doctor lunged forward and bit into his neck. Ryan grabbed the capsule and ran. Outside the factory, dozens of infected figures surrounded him, including Jake. And behind them, Emily. She whispered one last time, "End this." Ryan smashed the capsule onto the ground. A violent burst of toxic gas filled the air. Within seconds, every infected body in Blackridge began burning from the inside. The town turned into a field of fire. As Ryan walked away through the desert road, he turned back once. Through the flames, he saw Emily standing there peacefully. Then slowly, she disappeared in the smoke. And Blackridge became nothing more than a forgotten town. Jake Miller didn't believe in signs, he believed in logic. That's why he never saw it coming. Jake was the smart one. Relax, there's a scientific explanation guy. Tyler believed in ghosts. Marcus believed in God. Jake believed in none of it. "Man, the world ain't haunted," he'd say. "People just scare themselves." They left their small Arkansas town chasing construction jobs in Dallas. County Road 17 was supposed to be a shortcut. By sunset, the sky looked bruised. Marcus slowed. "Y'all feel that?" Jake smirked. "Feel what?" "Poverty?" Then Tyler pointed. There, an old wooden house in the middle of flat land. No fences, no cars. At the door, a black goat and a gray cat sitting perfectly still. Jake exhaled. "See? We're good. Somebody lives here." Marcus frowned. "Then why no lights?" Jake started walking. "Because not everybody pays electric bills on time." The door opened by itself when Tyler knocked. Jake immediately said, "Old hinges, pressure shift." Inside was layered in dust, furniture decaying, air thick and unmoving. Marcus whispered, "This place been dead for years." Jake stepped back outside. The goat hadn't moved. He crouched slightly, waving a hand in front of its face. No blink, no flinch. Its pupils were wrong, not horizontal like a goat's. Round, centered, almost human. Jake's smirk faded for half a second. Then he stood up. "Genetic defect," he muttered. Tyler pointed at the ground. "Bro, why ain't there hoof prints?" The dirt around the goat was smooth, untouched, like it hadn't walked there, like it had appeared there. The cat suddenly moved, but not toward them. It walked behind Jake, rubbed against his leg, only his, then sat facing the house, ignoring Tyler, ignoring Marcus. Jake felt that, but didn't admit it. "Y'all overthinking? We need sleep!" Hunger twisted their stomachs. Jake made the decision. "We take some milk, we crash, we leave at sunrise." Marcus hesitated. "You don't think it's weird? Nobody's here?" Jake snapped slightly, ego showing. "Everything ain't a demon, man. They milked it. The milk was warm, not farm warm, skin warm." Jake froze. Tyler whispered, "That normal?" Jake forced himself to drink first. To prove a point. "See? Perfectly fine." The cat stared only at him while he drank. Jake woke up at 6:12 a.m. He always woke up early. Control freak habit. Marcus? No answer. Tyler sat up. He outside? They searched. No tracks, no disturbed dirt. Inside, Marcus's sleeping spot wasn't just cold, it was clean, no dust disturbed, like he had never laid there. Jake's chest tightened. He checked the door. Locked. From the inside. He checked windows. Nailed shut. Tyler's voice shook. You can't explain that. Jake didn't answer. For the first time, he had no explanation ready. But pride stepped in. He probably left before us. Y'all dramatic. They waited. Jake kept glancing at the goat. It was closer now. Without moving. He was sure of it. Jake woke up to silence. Tyler gone. This time there were marks. Not drag marks. Indentations. Like something heavy had pressed into the floorboards around Tyler's body. As if something had lain on top of him. Jake's breathing became shallow. He rushed outside. The goat stood inches from the porch now. Its eyes locked onto him. The pupils narrowed slightly. Adjusting. Focusing. The cat? Gone. Jake spun around. The cat was inside, sitting exactly where Marcus had slept the first night, looking at Jake like it recognized him. Not prey. Not stranger. Something else. Jake whispered. No, this ain't real. For the first time in his life, he had nothing logical left to say. He ran. Back in town, no one had seen Marcus or Tyler. Suspicion fell on Jake fast. He was the only one who returned. A group drove back with him that night. The house still stood, waiting. An old rancher stayed behind the others. Didn't step onto the property, he asked quietly. When you saw it, was it alone? Jake's throat tightened. What? The goat. Jake nodded slowly. The old man stared at the house. It doesn't come for groups. Silence. Jake's heart began pounding. Because when Marcus vanished, they were 3. When Tyler vanished, Jake was asleep, alone in that room. And when Jake ran back, he was alone on the road at sunset. A soft bleat echoed behind him. Everyone turned. The goat stood at the edge of the yard, this time unmistakable. Its eyes were human, not shaped. Human, wet, thinking, aware. And the cat walked past the group. Ignored every man with a shotgun. Walked straight to Jake, sat at his feet, and looked up at him like it had been waiting. Jake finally understood. It hadn't been choosing randomly. It had been isolating him, one by one. The men raised their guns. The goat didn't move. It just kept looking at Jake, like a mirror. Jake felt something shift inside his chest, like something making room. He whispered, barely audible. I don't believe in this. The goat's head tilted, almost gently. And in that moment, Jake realized something worse than fear. Belief had never mattered. Some roads don't take you somewhere new. They simply make the world smaller. Until there's only you left in it. And something waiting. Bro, I escaped my apartment at 3 a.m. with nothing. No shoes, no wallet, just my life. And I will never go back to New Jersey again. You ever ignored something because UK knew if you paid attention to it, it would change everything? Yeah, that was my mistake. Okay, so real talk. Taxes in New Jersey hit different. Way too high, fam. So I packed up, found this rental online, decent price, decent area, moved in on a Tuesday. Nothing felt off at first. Day 1, I open the front door, walk toward my room, and there's this Barbie doll just sitting on the floor in the middle of the hallway. No box, nothing. But here's where it gets weird. I'm Edie, right? And I get this feeling, you know that feeling when someone's watching you? Like the back of your neck just tightens? I looked up, and I swear on everything I love, that doll's face was pointed directly at me from across the hallway. I told myself, bro, you're tired. You just moved. Chill. I went to bed. I laid down, pulled the blanket, closed my eyes, and then I felt it. Weight on the bed next to me. I turned my head slowly, and that Barbie doll was right there, laying beside me, face toward mine. My heart stopped. I literally could not breathe for like 5 full seconds. But you know what I did? I'm embarrassed to say this. I convinced myself I must have knocked it while walking, must have landed on the bed somehow. I just pushed it to the side and went to sleep. Because what's the alternative, right? That it move it itself? Yeah, next morning, work, come home, normal day, I'm dead tired. I drop onto the bed, and there she is. Same spot, same angle, face up, looking at the ceiling. Something in me just snapped, like I'd had enough. I grabbed that doll and I threw it out the window. First floor, so whatever, I didn't care. Gone. Problem solved. I lay down, finally felt okay. And then, knock, 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 my door. Not the front door. MY bedroom door. It was 11:47 p.m. I had not let anyone in. I sat up, heart pounding out of my chest. Knock, knock, knock. And then this voice. Low, raspy, like something pretending to be a child. It said my name. It said my name. Bro, I don't know how it knew my name. I had been in that apartment for TWAs, and in that moment, I knew. That was never a doll. Whatever that thing was, it had been watching me since I walked in, learning me, waiting to see if I'd engage. And when I threw it out, I made it angry. I didn't think. I didn't pack. I ran to the window on the opposite side of the room. First floor, thank God, slid it open, and I jumped out into the grass. I ran to my car in my socks. No shoes, no bag. Phone was at 12%. I drove to a gas station 3 miles away and just sat there shaking in the parking lot until sunrise. I never went back. My landlord kept the deposit. My stuff is still in there for all I know. And honestly, they can have it. Some people ask me, why didn't you just open the door? Because whatever was on the other side of that door had already been sleeping next to me for 2 nights. And it just wanted me to finally acknowledge it. I wasn't about to give it that. If you're moving somewhere new, check every room, every corner, and if something feels wrong on day 1, trust it. Don't be me.